Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to another Raging Reality Pop video, where tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we return to a young lady that I did cover one or two stuff by Grande very early on last year, but if I am going to be making this a very regular thing, then I'm going to have to get started right about now. So, yes, and, well, here we go. So, oh god, I don't even... You know what's really strange is that, again, as a... I've got no... Okay, let's, how about we just get started? I've almost got nothing really to say aside from, let's do it, eh? So, here we go. Yes, and, boom.
Oh yeah, real exclusive. Typical Ari.
You know, I think I liked it better when her ponytail was a few centimeters higher.
Right. And I mean, who cares if she's happy? I don't want happy. I want art.
Okay, let's see what this is.
I miss the old
your average Reddit.
You know, the singer.
You don't say. I hear she's starting her own artisanal hummus line next.
Oh my god, did she really do that?
Well, I read it on the internet, so it must be true.
Well, it must be.
that makes sense.
Very well done. Everybody else. They'll just love it. They'll love it.
Okay, there's like quite a lot we have to unpack with this because God Almighty, this is gonna be really really interesting. Is that, you know what I think's really what I really loved about this is the fact that it is, you could tell from the moment it started to the moment it ended, it's all about. I mean, you could argue almost from like, it's strange because like the music video sort of like tells like two very different stories, because the music video itself is actually really interesting, and how it's almost specifically meant to be a point in case about how you're meant to carry yourself, representation, and about how it's not just an audience you're trying to appease to, you're also trying to appease to a boardroom. You're trying to appease to people about who you are and what exactly your worth is. Because it's just as much about how you present. They say in business that image is everything. And they also say a lot of things about how you have got to be this little perfect little, you know, little Miss America sitting on basically a throne of glass, and you've got to be sipping tea, looking every single inch perfect. In no matter what you've got, you have got to basically be perfect. And listen, I'm not one for saying this, and you probably already know where this is going already. They say that good or mediocre artists die. Only great artists live on. Only perfection will be remembered forever. And it's no different than it is in the music industry. And it's something that is also best. I mean, I'll just take you through some of these. Yes, and say that shit with your chest, and be your own fucking best friend. Say that shit with your chest. Keep moving like, what's next? Yes, and it's literally, it's also exposing a lot of things about like the toxic society of a culture that is basically instantaneous. You finish devouring one thing, you want to move on to the next, and then what's next? And then you're sort of like, you're clicking your fingers, demanding to be entertained, to have every single inch of your infinite distraction void filled with whatever you can get. And in the world, in this modern day and age, ladies and gentlemen, they seem to have almost neglected the rule of there is such a thing as having too much of a good thing. And that's the sort of thing that the eyes of bean counting executives also look for immensely in a lot of young artists, is that as long as they can produce banger after banger time and time again, if it can make them millions, then you know what? Some people think that is literally all that matters in the eyes of executives. Take a look at AKA Elvis Presley and, you know, the Colonel Tom Parker. You only need to look into that story and you can work out that actually all that glitters on the bright stage is not gold. Now, it may also be argued that through things like this about how it's a lot about people who selfishly cheat on each other. Perhaps. I mean, now I'm so done with caring what you think. No, I won't hide underneath your own projections or change my most authentic life. Now, again, and I say cheating, but it's rather being cheated of the things that make you who you are. They say you should never trust a reflection, ladies and gentlemen, because believing that acceptance is more important than accepting who you truly are is, again, something that is almost exemplified. Because I remember Ariana Grande when she was still in Victorious, and she looks like a very, very different person. And again, that's probably just through, you know, age and time and stuff like that. But it wasn't even that long ago when it was actually pretty much just a year ago when Miley Cyrus came out with this album called Flowers, and it talked a lot about Miley's divorce in the song of the same name, and how she seemed free and perfectly capable to just live her life as she chooses. But that was only in song format. In song, it's the great old female empowerment message. And yes, I literally did just cover a song called "Smile" by Lily Allen, which is a bit more of a cynical point of it, but it still matters nonetheless. And so you may even argue then, well, if that's true, then it's a little bit even ballsier for someone as highly established and recognizable as Ariana Grande coming out with stuff like this, and then even coming out with lyrics like this, which almost seems to provocatize the pimping out of so many pop stars. My tongue is sacred. I speak upon what I like. Protected, sexy, discerning with my time. Your energy is yours and mine is mine. What's mine is mine. My face is sitting. I don't need no disguise. Don't comment on my body. Do not reply. Your business is yours and mine is mine. Why do you care so much whose I ride? Why? It is because, and again, we go into this whole thing again about when they try and make somebody look so perfect. They look perfect in the eyes of people who legitimately want to know everything. People become so incredibly fixated to the point of obsession. And again, you only need to look at things like Perfect Blue, for example, which would be, it's just one example. And it's also must have been one of those things that Ariana Grande must have been trying to like get it off her chest for a while, no pun intended, because it's disgusting the way some people lurch towards women in this sort of capacity. And you also wonder what consequence it is to some people's lives about who people date or what on earth was up with that. It's got to be one of the worst things about like being in the spotlight is that every single interview is being put into the spotlight too. And something that may or may not have consequences is one thing. Because you also have to remember one thing, ladies and gentlemen, people aren't, pop stars are not just made at piecemeal. In fact, they're not even from birth are they put into the spotlight, because that's just unhealthy and very, very obsessive. And you have to also remember, Ariana Grande was performing at the Manchester Arena during the 2017 terrorist attacks. The Ariana has actually has been through some shit in her time, so I hardly imagine this is ever going to be something that's like groundbreaking or shattering. But it's probably just something she just wanted to always like just get out the way. And again, we referred back to the video and how the fact that it ends with her perfectly in place, turned to stone, because she's ready for the next like board meeting, because those are the people she's got to impress. And it's probably even those people to impress to even get stuff like this out. So it's both commenting on the fact that some people are so obsessed, and then people like Ariana Grande just couldn't give a shit about what people they really got to say about her, because it's a parasocial thing and they don't know them personally. And it's also commenting on the fact that even to say stuff that's like quite edgy and quite nuanced and irrelevant, even that is a struggle in itself, because you still got to conform to the conventions of being, a pop artist, a singer, a performer, a dancer, somebody that you want to see perform. That's like really interesting, and I that's the sort of thing I do actually want to see become more, because if people actually sit back and actually got into this and knew exactly like what they were going for, I reckon that's the sort of thing that, again, these should be made more popular than they are. And it's amazing to me, again, it's fascinating that this is the sort of thing that absolutely I look for, because it talks about real things in a real world that happens to real people, and it happens whether we acknowledge it or not. And bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen, even people who, you know, do things with their chests out literally for a living, even they must, they're still human just like the rest of us. Even they must get pretty bored of just like being, you know, objectified every so often. And that's what this entire video is that objectified. Yes, and what's your point about that? Yes, you are doing it. Yes, you look like a pig for doing it. And does that change my day, anything like that? Probably not. So anyway, I hope all of you guys have enjoyed this reaction video to Yes and by Ariana Grande. Please make sure to leave all your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below, because we want to know what you guys felt of Grande's nuanced ways, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.